And today's coaching clinic is all about an easier experience in your business. This topic has come about because it tends to be the question or the conversation that I have most with people, even friends, clients. And I think there's something fresh to be seen for all of us about creating results without the hustle. Now, you might not necessarily be in a business or a coaching practice or in a hustle right now, but you might have other areas of your life that this information can apply to and help you. Because as you know, what I share tends to go, across the board. So an easier experience in your business. And the way I would like to start our coaching clinic is with a nice grounding meditation to really settle us into the space and help us just quieten down that noisy mind so that you can really receive the information here today. And then as I go through some sharing with you, I'll then open it up to your questions or your comments, anything that you'd like to share. Alrighty, so just join with me now as we close our eyes and just take a couple of deep breaths in through the nose and out. I like to use the count of four because there's something stabilizing about the number four. So in through the nose, 2, 3, 4, and out through the nose or the mouth, 2, 3, 4. Keep that rhythm going for a moment or two. You can feel the weight of your body without judgment on the chair or the bed. You're just using the breath to slow down the racing thoughts in the mind. That's why the count of four is sometimes helpful. And it doesn't matter what you've been doing up until this point. The point of power is in this present moment. Just allow yourself to be here. Coming together in silence, in presence. And in this moment, you can set an intention for this coaching clinic. Sometimes the best intention is simply show me what I need to see and tell me what I need to hear. Direct me. But if you have something specific on your mind, set the intention for clarity or resolution around that topic. For many of us, it's about softening around a topic or a problem. Sometimes we're holding it so tightly and we're so wound up about it and we're so concerned about it. And yet all of that holding and gripping doesn't make for an easy experience. And that's what we're looking at today. An easy experience in your business, in your life, in any area. Now, in your mind's eye, see roots coming from your feet, down through the floorboards, down into the ground, right down to the underground, and wrap those roots around a rock at the bottom of the earth. Feel yourself being supported and centered there. Golden light emanates from this rock, the light of your true nature. See that light moving now from the rock, through the roots, through the underground, the ground, the floorboards, and up into your feet. See this light circling the feet. Moving up through the body now, the light begins to move and sends healing and energy to all cells and all parts, up through the ankles, the kneecaps, through all of the legs, the thighs, up to the hips, round the back, past the buttocks and up into the spine. See this golden elixir of light, front and back, being sent up through the body, through the front of the body, right up to the top of the head, and through the back of the body, right up to the back of the head, and meeting the light, meeting one another at the top. And swishing down now to the left, through the left side of the body, the left side of the face, the left side of the neck, down through the left arm, out through the left hand, and swishing down the right side of the body, down through the right side of the face, the neck, the shoulder, down through the arm, and out through the hands. You're now bathed in this golden elixir of healing light. This light supports you, holds you, heals you, is you. And now in your mind's eye, just get a vision in front of you of a golden path. And see yourself stepping up onto that path and walking along that path gently, easily, without rushing, the sun shining down upon you. And up ahead of you is a body of water. And across from the body of water is a bench. Head there now. As you sit on the bench, imagine a friend or a spiritual support, a loved one, or a religious entity that you feel connected to. At the very least, imagine a part of you that you trust and invite them to come and sit on the bench with you. Don't worry about the form. Just know that this presence is alive and there for you. And as you sit there together, you can ask to receive either a knowing or a message or a clear vision by just asking this incredible mastermind, what do I need to know about this situation? Don't worry if nothing comes to you. But if something did come to you, trust it. Begin to trust your knowing. And if it didn't come to you, set intention that it would be revealed to you, preferably tonight during this beautiful new moon phase, and certainly within the next 3 days of this new moon, new beginning. And I thank this mastermind and allow yourself to step up from the bench, feeling lighter, walking towards that golden path just ahead of you now beyond the lake, beyond the body of water. And see yourself just gently walk along that golden path, sun shining down upon you. And there's a little white gate just ahead. You can open the gate and step down into your body now. Step back down so that you really feel yourself in your body. Maybe that means moving your fingers or your toes. Feel yourself in your physical once more. And see roots coming from your feet, down through the ground, down into the underground, right down to that rock at the bottom of the earth. Wrap those roots around that rock, feeling centered, feeling slower, feeling at home in this moment. And when you're ready, just gently open your eyes, coming into the space, moving a little bit if you need to, writing anything down if you need to. And so when we think about an easier experience of business or anything else in life, what we're really thinking about is coming home to a sense of presence in ourselves. It's not that situations and people need to change and get easier. It's rather that as we're at home in ourselves, centered, grounded, well, we're hearing from a different place, or we're seeing from a different lens. We're knowing from a deeper understanding. When you're really in that presence, which is your natural state, and doesn't have to take you long to get there if you feel far away from it, right? But when you're in that presence, you have access to answers, direction, ways to move forward that you just don't get from other people. And that the busy mind doesn't necessarily have access to. As a mentor said to me one time, what good is speed if you're going in the wrong direction? And I always thought, wow, that's huge actually, because we can be really good at action and getting things done. And we could even be headed in a direction that our small mind has decided, right, that this is it, this is the way we're going, this is going to be the one, only to discover that that didn't even come from the mastermind, divine mind within. It came from a different place. It came from a logical, reasoning, well thought out place. Now, there's scope for that in life and business. But what you'll find is that when you're in presence, connected to self with a capital S, you're hearing and seeing and knowing things from a different level of consciousness. I don't I don't see a lot of effort when I'm coming from that place. So what if an easier experience is just about you allowing yourself to live more from this presence and this connectedness? Any mess can get cleaned up in an instant with presence in ourselves, because we get divine downloads. We're hearing from a different mind. Nowadays I'm calling it the mastermind. We're hearing from the mastermind within us. Solutions, direction, answers. And how simple that's just built into the system, to hear that, to recognize that, to notice that. The thing that takes us out of that is all that innocent, habitual thought, that busy, 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 busy mind. There is a tendency, innocently, for us to hear that mastermind and yes, but it. Another form of yes, butting it is to hear that mastermind within and get really, really busily focused on the outcomes or what it's going to cost us. In other words, to dismiss this knowing. I was given an example last week with a group I was with, and I had gone to have my nails done. It's a very practical example, but I'd gone to have my nails done. And I was really disappointed with the result. We found a problem, and I really didn't like the way that the esthetician, who's also a nice friend of mine, responded. And as I got thinking a little more closely, I realized that right before I entered the salon, I had a knowing something's not right here. If I go back a bit, I had a lot of mastermind. I had a lot of yes buddy in my mastermind about this particular person. I would get a hint of, this isn't very relaxing. I don't feel very comfortable when I'm getting my nails done. Yes, but she's a friend. But she's been doing it for 6 years. But she does a great job. But if you say no to her now, you're going to miss out on these other treatments as well. This is what we do to ourselves. So that day, I went into the salon to have my nails done, and we discovered there's a problem, and right enough discovered there was a problem from before. And it was like just all these little things started like accumulating. Now, my knowing has probably been telling me for some time that it's not very conducive to me energetically, never mind nails. I mean, never really been a problem in 6 years with nails, but energetically, it's not being very conducive for me to go and be there. But I was amazed at the yes butting, the habitual dialogue that was almost convincing me to that I was wrong and to keep going. Now, this is just a very kind of ordinary example I'm giving of the ways that we make, if the ways that life stroke business can become very anything but easy. Had I been listening to that mastermind within, Divine Mind's download about my situation, I wouldn't have had a ton of brain noise as I left to go on holidays. And I probably wouldn't have had really bad nails, but that's kind of beside the point. We hear or we know. And that's what makes business easier. Following that, trusting that, letting that guide us. Habits of thought that talk us out of that knowing hearing or seeing. Some of you will be very good at seeing what's ahead rather than hearing what's ahead or just knowing what's right or next for you. You know, as we get good at that, trusting that, rather than getting dragged away by the habitual thinking that usually comes right in at exactly the same time, just to, because it's just habitual and it just wants to kind of like take over the show. As we get good at just being in the space of that knowing, that clarity, we don't even have to act on it straight away, but for an easier experience of business and life, we absolutely want to give space to this knowing, this mastermind that's speaking. And we want to give far less space to this habitual noise that thinks it's trying to keep us safe, but is usually flavored with outcomes and yes buts and what ifs. I don't know if I had meditated that day or if I had just woke up really well rested that day that I went to the salon. I don't know. I don't think hearing, knowing, or seeing this this wisdom, I don't think it's dependent upon a particular practice. I think it's within us. In the moment it shows up. In the moment it's there, letting you know. And we have free will, whether or not to pay attention, to take heed, to follow through. That's the beauty of being a human. We have this free will to tune in or tune out. We don't want to beat ourselves up when we tune out, but we might notice if business or life is feeling effortful, lots of brain noise, efforting, struggling, figuring out, analyzing, worrying, it might be more supportive to just tune in to what comes to you initially. I call it my first impression. So my first impression at that salon door was, uh-oh. I don't know really what that means. But now that I look back, I can trust that there's something within me and you that has great guidance, won't let you down when it comes to your business, won't let you down when it comes to money, won't let you down when it comes to even the minutest things like, you know, getting your nails done, when you listen. So ease is there for you. Easier is available to you. And depending on how challenging things look right now, you know, I invite you to see any challenge, effort, struggle, hardship as an invitation first to get back to presence, connected to self with a capital S. To wait well for the download, because you will get it, especially when it comes to business. To wait well for what is it that spirit is wanting to express through me next. Because whatever my logic has come up with has got me so far, maybe helpfully. But if I'm in an experience of effort and struggle and hardship, I know there's something else that can come through that will be far more graceful and easier to my result, as the path to my result. So I want to check in at this stage if there are questions, so we can make this perhaps a little more practical for you. And or if you're already hearing something that's it's kind of already touched you. Because anything that, even if you can't put words to it, anything that touches you a little bit and kind of helps you just like either lighten up around the situation a bit or let go the reins of holding it so tightly, any of that is feedback for you really hearing something, seeing something, knowing something a little more deeply. You may not be able to put words to that. But is there an area or a situation you would like my download or direction around? Ultimately, it's your download that's going to move you forward. But is there something I can help you with today? And no topic is off topic, and no question is too minuscule or too big. Mandy, come on. Thank you.
I suppose hang on. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What came to me then, something that I'm curious about at the moment, is that so I'm talking about business, I get easily inspired and I seem to have loads of ideas. So an example of that is a program to work with parents. And I did that a few years ago and then I stopped. And it comes back to me and I get really excited about it and I imagine it and I can daydream about it and then I collapse and do nothing with it. So it's kind of like I'm not worried about that. I think but I'm interested in that collapse. I don't get a really loud Bob in my head talking me out of it. It is just like I get overtired with the excitement and the inspiration. It's like, and then just collapse and kind of lie down. And it's like, oh, that was an interesting ride.
Yeah. Well, that's just great because this helps so many people, your question, Mandy. And I love that you can recognize, you get overtired with all the thinking about it. You see the power of thought. It can be good thought and helpful thought and inspiring thought, but it's still freaking exhausting when it's that busy.
Yeah.
Now, here's the good news. The collapse is great feedback that you're overdoing it mentally, however exciting it might feel. Here's the good news. That doesn't mean anything about the project. That doesn't mean you shouldn't do the project. That doesn't mean that you're not up for the project. Like, I'm hearing you have an idea that continues to come back around.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a way for you, and as we go along, we'll get there. There's a way for you to be able to hold that idea, bring it to life without burning yourself out in the process, without it needing to be filled with thinking, thinking, thinking. One of the reasons I barely ever stick to a diet is because the moment I go on a diet, I'm just thinking, 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 thinking about food. Can I do this? Can I not do that? What should I do? The day feels so long. When I'm not on any sort of diet, I'm just like not even thinking about food. It's not on my mind. I'm just, for some reason, we innocently have just learned to use our thinking in a hefty way in some places. And for some of you, having a business idea is a hefty way to use thought. You know, it kind of innocently using your thinking to kind of go over and over and over and over. And so, Mandy, the collapse is just great feedback for your where your mind is at. But caution not to make the collapse mean something about the project and the idea. What
Yeah,
did you
I can do that. I can do that, make it about the idea, and then next morning I'll wake up with a new one. And it's like Groundhog Day. It's like, oh, I can do this. And I'll do the same pattern again. So it's not lack of ideas. And they all seem equally inspiring.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's the discerning bit, I think, maybe that I need to recognizing what's overexcited thought or just resting.
Well, coming up with ideas is one of the ways that the mind that we get to use thinking. It doesn't mean it's coming from the mastermind within you.
Um,
It's a nice way to use your thinking. Like I could be lying on my sofa, I'll be thinking about outfits.
yeah.
You know, like multiple different outfits are going through my mind for various different things. That's a nice way to use my thinking, but I wouldn't say, I mean, it keeps me kind of busy minded. You know, it's like, why don't you just wait until you're in the moment, Grace, and pick the outfit for the event? You know, where did we learn we have to generate the ideas in advance of the moment? Now, I'm not saying that's what you're doing, Mandy, but you can see both our examples are just ways we get to use thought. That doesn't mean it's coming from the mastermind within you. For what it's worth, when an idea continues to come back and nudge you, a same idea, that can be helpful information to notice. Maybe there's some juice in that idea. But a mind that's pinging on ideas left, right, and center, it's great fun. But it's busying you to the point of collapse. And then, of course, innocently, you can't do anything with any of them. So again, it's good you're here today, recentering first, focusing on your well of being first, seeing does that initial idea about the parent piece continue to nudge you, or does a fresh download drop in from a quieter space? Okay. And I know you're in our group mastermind, so we have time to, you know, really support you in, yeah, learning to to create in the world without burning yourself out with thought. Does this resonate?
Hugely, actually. What I'm realizing is that is the great distraction for me, and I have a lot of fun with it. And then I get tired and I don't do the work. I don't do the grown-up thing. Even because when it occurs to me, I'm like, I'm too tired, I'll do it tomorrow. So there's something there around, yeah, I haven't seen it as I was seeing it as the mastermind, giving me all these great ideas and things to play with. And it's like, ah, no, maybe the feeling is different, isn't it?
The feeling is different. That's a beautiful way to put it. And there's a big difference between that mastermind within you and the power of thought.
Mm.
I love how you described it as like just things, I think you said things to play with, keeping you, you know, we get to use our thinking any way we want. Mastermind, divine mind kind of drops in, sometimes unexpectedly. I have a couple of clients had no thoughts at all about leaving their marriage. And one day I just walked into the kitchen and realized it's over. That's an example of the mastermind at work. Like there's like no overthinking and worrying and fear and busyness. It's just like, oh, this is what's next. Okay, so yeah, look for the feeling, trust the feeling. The
Yeah,
feeling
thanks.
will let you know. Great.
Perfect.
Anybody else got a question today? Samantha,
Hi.
great to see you.
Oh, and you, darling. I think I've got the opposite problem. I've got no ideas. What it's related to is I had a podcast and I started it with someone else and it was doing really, really well. At some point last year, they kind of backed away from it and they don't actually want me to have it on my own. So I've been thinking, well, I'll just start a new one. And I've had absolutely no ideas. And then I think, well, I don't actually need to start a new one. There's nothing I need to do. And then Mastermind will sit me in a restaurant next to someone I don't know who hears my voice and says, are you one-minding? And I go, yes. And they go, oh my God, I listened to your show. Like, when are you going to bring out some new episodes? And I'm like, it kind of blew my mind when this happened. And we had a conversation and they weren't even from the town that I live in. They didn't know anybody that I knew. They just found it and were listening to it. So I'm like, oh, great. What a great sign. But then I don't have any inspiration for what to call it, who to do it with, what to do about it. And I feel like it's been months now and I feel really stuck around this one idea or this one situation.
Yeah. Well, this is really helpful for everybody too, Samantha, because people can really relate to that kind of blank slate, the unknown, right? Like, and yet I love that life is reminding you, hey, this podcast thing, like I'm a great fan of also noticing what life's reminding me of, I'm getting the word patience for you. We go through different seasons and it sounds very much like the season you're in is waiting on something fresh. Mm. Now we can't rush that, Samantha, as much as it's frustrating to us. Well, I should be doing something. Well, I've got all this time. Well, I'm going to miss out. Well, I get all these signs, right? Like, but there's something about, season of waiting for something fresh. The beautiful thing about your blank slate is now you can begin to really connect with, well, not what is it, like that's more analyzing, thinking it up. You're going to be touched by something. You're going to see a direction, you're going to hear a direction, or you're going to just know a direction. You're going to be touched by something, because there is no way that spirit's going to just leave you sitting on the couch the rest of your life. You've got too much good to be helping humanity with. but a season of rest,
Mm.
a season of quiet, a season of not knowing is usually required and precedes what's about to come next. Can you get on board with that a little?
Yeah, because what's been really interesting is the flip side is I've felt like I haven't had anything to say. You know, I'm fine with my clients and things like that, but actually on a wide scale, I haven't felt like, oh, I really feel like I've got something to say to everybody, which is when I had the podcast, I felt very excited and I felt like there was a lot to say, and I haven't had that feeling either. So I guess they go hand in hand.
Yeah, and you know, this is where we want to get good at trusting the season we're in.
Mm.
You know, you've maybe heard me talk about waiting well, learning to wait well. Like Bob the drunk guy in our head cannot bear the thought of lack of productivity and not doing anything and just like not having ideas. However, you know, you can trust that just as it came before in the form of a podcast. Where did that come from? That's your mastermind speaking, right? Something stirring in your heart, a feeling of excitement, clarity on what to express. Just as that all came before, it will come again. But let's get out of this idea that our culture has dictated a bit, that we need to be on all the time and downloads all the time and productivity all the time and coming up with greater and greater ideas and bigger client bases all the time. That even nature doesn't work like that 365 days per year, right? So yeah, just let's see where this goes as you're letting go of thought around what should I be doing, how should I be doing it, when's it going to come, why am I not inspired? See, that's a use of thought called analyzing, evaluating oneself. Great way to use thought, absolutely exhausting, right? When we're using our thoughts to watch ourselves, analyze ourselves, evaluate ourselves, we're busy-minded. There's no, you're not getting downloads in that place. So I'd love to see what happens as you let go of this and you allow yourself the patience to just be in the season you're in, knowing that it will come again. See, the beautiful thing about our work friends is, and it always kind of makes me laugh because people kind of try and hide about their work, and I'm a coach, or like I know how to help you, like, but I don't want to talk about myself too much. It's like if you were selling cocaine, I would understand why you might want to hide yourself, and spirit might not be so supportive to your endeavors. The business we're in is a business of healing, serving humanity. Whether you're a coach or you're a teacher or you're a mother or you're a healer, whatever. Spirit is very interested in using you for the greater good of the whole. Spirit will find a way, seek you out, grow your business because it benefits the whole. You think it just benefits you or the person in front of you that you're having a session with, but the ripple effect is incredible. There's this web of well-being, and we are at the center of that, sending it out into the world. Now, see, you're going to get used up. Sydney Bank said, even if you were in a desert, they would seek you out. And I think that's because spirit is friendly to our endeavors because it benefits the whole. But guess what, friends? It also requires refueling on your side, on our side. It requires seasons of rest, contemplation. It requires that connectedness to self with a capital S. And it gets easier and easier and easier and easier to be used by spirit in the world as you're just following those nudges, as you're just operating from those downloads rather than busy, 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 busy mind. So Samantha, I'm not worried about you. I think you're in exactly the right place at exactly the right time.
Thank
How's
you.
that?
Yeah, it feels lovely. It's I see that, then I don't see it, then I see it, then I don't see it.
Of course, yeah.
So yeah, it's lovely to talk to you about it because, you know, it's not many people that really, you know, especially it's got to be someone in our profession that you can speak to, and you know, you can have that dialogue with that experiences probably similar things in many ways. So thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. And friends, I'll just drop a link here. You know, if we have this beautiful mastermind opened between now and the end of July. Session 2 will begin tomorrow. There's still time to take part. If you feel like you could take this conversation deeper, that this would really support you to be operating more from this place, you know, get in touch. The link is there, and join us on that journey of just really deepening beyond thought and into that mastermind within you that has the way. You know, even just I noticed for the group that went through originally, just recently, just the level of trust in what they're doing and how they're doing it has just grown and grown and grown. And, you know, sometimes people are coming in a bit like Samantha, coming in really kind of concerned about where they're at and, you know, not getting ideas, and yet, you know, there's a learning that takes place around doing this work in the world just isn't about being on all the time and having your logic lead the way. Anyway, enough about that. The link is there. Session 2 is tomorrow. You get a replay for from session 1. 3 calls a month, and you can join us. We'd love to have you. I know some of you are already in that with me, and I look forward to more. So I think at this point, unless if there's someone has a short question, I'm very happy to take a short question or comment. Nikki.
Hi, Grace. Nice to see you.
Hi, you too.
On a while. I just want to say something short because I came on here and it was as though the two ladies that spoke answered absolutely everything for me because I was in that waiting phase. As you know, I'm used to having lots of ideas, and I've had ideas, and then I got sick and had one thing after another for about 2 months, and I just realized that I was really caught up with a lot of analyzing about, you know, being sick and what that meant, and that I'll never get these these ideas to fruition, because now I must be getting old, because you know, now I'm 47 and I'm sick, and it's just all downhill from now, you know. So so I just had a really big I just had tears streaming down my face when was it Samantha was talking there about waiting, and that you just said how, you know, there's she's in exactly the right place and you're not worried about her at all. And I just realized that I'm in this waiting phase, and the acceptance of that just suddenly took a huge weight off my shoulders. So I just want to say thank you. So this is
Yeah,
really, really helpful today. Thank you. And I was
good.
going to go get my nails done today, and the lady cancelled at the last minute, so that's why I'm here.
Oh, well, we're delighted to have you. And someone asked in the group chat, you know, oh, I'm seeing questions come in now. Am I? Okay. Someone asked in the group chat about the timing of the coaching sessions, the coaching clinic. Yes, I most likely at 11 a.m. going forward. 11 a.m. New York, 4 p.m. London going forward. First Tuesday of the month. First Tuesday of the month. Yeah, isn't it interesting how when people share, it's always so universal. It's always something that we need to hear, or even the response that's given, we hear something for ourselves. So it's nice to know that, you know, none of us are up against some exception. You know, we're all on this journey, seeing on deeper levels the power of thought, trusting on a deeper level the divine mind, the mastermind that is built into the system to support us, right? There to create the solutions, there to guide the path. And waiting well, I think I have a video on that somewhere. I'll try and find it. But waiting well when we're in the unknown or when nothing is coming to us is one of the most helpful things we can do. And just as Nicola described, she kind of, and Samantha too, just kind of feels a little bit easier now that I know that I'm kind of like, that's where I'm at. Like even that inch of feeling a bit lighter about where you're at drops a ton of thought, awakens the hearing of a much more trustworthy voice. Because so often we're just tight and constricted and judging and evaluative. So I leave you with that today. I'm so glad to see you all here. It's an absolute pleasure. And I'm looking forward to being with you in the mastermind. If you feel open to that, get in touch, or here's the link one more time, and or next month on the coaching clinic, which would be, I think, the first Tuesday of June. Okay, everybody, lots of love. Take care. Bye.